One voiceover gig and I am just like, you can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. I'm a star. Hey y'all, it's Chimdi. So I am here in Mexico City, Mexico. I wanted to make a video about my first ever voiceover gig, which was so cool and so fun. Not everything we love to do is an easy task, and this statement rings especially true for certain aspects of language learning. Here are 6 of the hardest languages for native English speakers to learn. I just quit my job, right? People are like,
how are you gonna pay your bills without any money?
And I always say the same thing, which is our sweet Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is gonna pay my bills. And then I say, if you don't believe in God, then I'm gonna pay it through savings, through AdSense, and through creative projects. And so this is one of the creative projects that I've gotten to do that's paid me money, which has been awesome. So I wanna share a few of the things, 5 specifically, that I have learned from my first ever voiceover acting gig. Before we get started, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you have not already. And if you haven't already, I love that for you because it means you're gonna get to subscribe to me, which is so fun. Someone left me a comment and they were like, I just subscribed, yay for me. And I was like, yay, I love this for you and for me and for us. And also, don't you wanna be one of those people who says like,
I subscribed to Chimdi before she had 10,000 subscribers. I was in early.
Leave a comment below. What is your relationship to voice acting, to the sound of your own voice? Is it velvety smooth like mine? And let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I learned from this voiceover acting gig, which I already knew but it was truly confirmed, is that relationships are everything. So the way I got the voice acting gig is from Nazir Fleming, who works at Babbel, and he used to work at Shut Up and Go, which I used to write for. They're this awesome travel platform. They honestly started my journey into traveling, and so it was so cool to get to write for them when I was traveling for a year on remote year. Followed him on Instagram, of course. Also, his Instagram is fly, and I'm not just saying that because you helped me get this gig. Your Instagram is super fly. And he put in one of his stories, hey y'all, looking for voiceover people. I was like, does YouTube count? And he was like, yeah girl, send us a reel. And so here's what I thought. I was like, I have done voiceovers for my YouTube for literally years. Surely I'll be able to go into my YouTube and find some great clips of me being entertaining and fun. And no, that's not what happened. Obviously I think I'm great, and so I'm like, it's only a matter of time before I have millions and millions of subscribers. And then watching my old content, I was like, wait a minute, Chimdi, is this arguably garbage? And that was hard because that's just not how I think about myself and my content. But like everything in this world, God actually used this as a way to give me a gift because it allowed me to create something original for Babbel. So I made this video that was like the reasons why you should watch your YouTube videos over instead of just publishing them after editing them for like 20 hours. And I just used existing B-roll that I had made, but then created my own original voiceover and obviously recorded it using my DLSR camera. I actually included it. It's obviously a private video, but I'll include a link below if you just are curious to know the kind of content that'll get you a voiceover acting gig. But I sent that over, they loved it. They were like, here is a sample for you to practice using some of the content you've already created. I recorded that super quick. It was actually super interesting because it was like maybe a Monday or Tuesday, and they were like, go ahead and send it to us like maybe by Friday. And it literally is like a 30-second audition. So in my mind, I'm like, why would it take me the whole week to send you 30 seconds of content? I'll just say it and send it to you. It's exactly what I did. Working with Nazir actually gave me like great notes, great feedback. They were like, yep, this is great, you're hired. And I was like, yeah! None of this would have happened if I hadn't been following Nazir, which wouldn't have happened, of course, if I hadn't reached out to him years before and was able to create a relationship with him by working with him through Shut Up and Go and hadn't maintained that relationship after he left. I always knew relationships were important, but this experience of actually getting paid work and having someone give me this amazing opportunity happened because I knew the person. I made a video a while ago back when I worked a full-time job about how I was able to get promotions and stuff, and a big part of it was maintaining beautiful relationships with my team and with my coworkers. So relationships, y'all, is where it's at. Speaking of relationships, this next thing I learned, which is shoot your shot, comes from a relationship that I made back in LA with an actress. So she reached out to me and she was like,
hey girl, I'm about to do sides for this thing I'm auditioning for. Can you run the sides with me?
I'm thinking we'll do it a couple of times. It'll take, what, 20 minutes, right? No. She reads through them. We then spend a bunch of time just practicing the sides as she's learning the lines. And then we actually get on camera and do it a bunch more times. And seeing the process of someone go from like truly never having having seen material before to learn the material and then act it in an audition was game changing for me because it showed me the behind the scenes of what it means to try, and it's literally just that. I literally sent her a message after like, hey girl, I just want to thank you for that experience because you really opened my eyes. It's not this huge thing, you know, and obviously we have the voices in our head that tell us,
oh, that isn't good enough, why are you doing it that way, they're not gonna like it,
whatever it is. But actually it's just about sitting down, practicing as many times as you need, and then recording it and sending it off, and that's all you can do. Like, that's you doing your part. It's helped me even in making these YouTube videos. Like, I used to get stressed out about YouTube videos. I used to like have to talk myself off a ledge. Even today, I'm working on this video about trauma, which hopefully will be live before this video is live, so that means that I finished it. And I literally like was crying in my bed thinking about it because I was like, what am I gonna talk about? I don't wanna hurt anyone's feelings. Is this actually gonna be valuable? It's such a huge topic. I'm not a professional therapist. Who am I to talk about trauma? All these things were in my head. It momentarily did stop me because I haven't recorded the video yet, but it won't stop me permanently because I understand that all I have to do is just try. Just go to the park, sit there, talk about my trauma, which I also don't want to talk about. It's a separate thing. But the point is, it's just about shooting your shot. And I made a video recently about getting my coochie waxed, and it's something that the woman who waxed me said is, you gotta shoot your shot. I only met her, she only waxed me, we only made that video because she left me a comment in my YouTube and was like, hey girl, we should be friends. And I was like, all right girl, let's go. The next thing I learned is you really never know how people perceive you. So there's this thing called the Johari window, and it talks about how there's the stuff that you know about yourself that other people know too. There's the stuff that you know about yourself that other people don't know. There's the stuff that other people know about you that you don't know about yourself. And there's the stuff that you don't know about yourself and other people don't know about yourself. In having this conversation with Nazir and the team, I realized people perceive me in my life in a very different way than how I perceive them. And especially when it's a more complimentary way of looking at yourself, go ahead and adopt that, y'all. It's way better to be kind and gracious and compassionate to yourself than to beat yourself up. So in this particular instance, I see myself as, I always knew I wanted to do creative work. I kind of let myself get caught up in BS, and instead I did nonprofit work, and I spent all this time in the career I shouldn't have been in, basically like 10 years of my life. And now I'm finally realizing what I should be doing, and I'm now starting from the bottom and building my way up. That's the narrative I've been telling myself about my life. In conversation with Nazir, he was like, oh, do y'all know Chimdi's story? And I'm like, my story? And he was like, you know, she had a whole other career. She was at the director level at a nonprofit. Then she decided to actually become a full-time creative and live her truth. And I was like, oh, that's such a nicer way of saying that. That's so much more kinder and compassionate and like beautiful and honoring of the truth of my journey. Even like with these videos about quitting my job, people in the comments are like, you're so inspirational. And I'm just like, okay, oh, okay. All right, are you sure? Me quitting the job that I hated, wasting all that time when I should have been doing creative stuff? I'm inspired. Oh, I ain't gonna fight you on it. And I think leaning into, especially if people are seeing you with love and kindness and grace, I'm like, okay, I'll receive it. And it helps me feel better about my choices and my dreams because I'm like, okay, actually, yeah, you were very successful. And then you were like,
deuces, on to bigger and better.
and here you are getting voiceover acting gigs like nothing, like light work, you know? And that's really how the Lord will do it. If you're beating up on yourself, maybe actually ask a friend, like, how do you see me? I actually had a friend send me this thing that she wrote about me, and it was the most kindest, most beautiful, like, Chimdi is my like creative hero, and she follows her truth, and she's really generous. And I was just like,
That's how you'll see me?
wow. And literally I like read it to myself as a part of my like morning routine. So truly talk to your friends and family, the ones who are cool, you know, not the toxic ones, and ask them how they see you, because you might realize that you are perceived with far more loving compassion than you even realize. The fourth thing I realized is that you need to have a self-confidence bordering on delusion if you're gonna be making it in this world. This is actually something that I've always had as one of my ethos, but Nazir actually brought it up again during our conversation because they asked, have you done this before? And I was like, nope. And they were like, oh, you're like really good at it. And I was like, thank you, I know. Because I knew I would be, because I can talk and I like the sound of my own voice, and I genuinely like feedback. So I will take a note, like I love a note. And all those things allow me to be really good at doing voiceover work. Even though it's my first time trying and actually being paid to do this particular thing, this whole thing was new to me. So I was like, yeah, of course I can do it. And I think a lot of creative people especially, we walk around with this doubt about our talents and our abilities, and it keeps us from doing what we can definitely do. That's actually a good tip, honestly, is like we always always have these two voices in our head. We have the voice that's calling us towards love and creation and beauty and light, and we have that voice that's calling us towards fear and self-doubt, just thinking we aren't good enough. One of those voices, its only job is to stop you from creating. So there's something you want, one voice says yes and one voice says no. The voice that's trying to stop you, if that's what the impact of listening to it is, that's the liar, and you have to ignore it. Going into this, when I was auditioning, even leading up to it, I was thinking, Mexico City is loud. Is it actually too loud in here? I'm using the camera that I set up on my DSLR. Is that good for voiceover work? I had no idea what I was doing because I'd never done it before. But deep down, I was like, it's gonna be fine. So they sent over the script. So I like practiced it. I went through it. I Googled all the words. I practiced my enunciation. And then in the actual session, I was doing pretty good, but obviously they had notes and I was incorporating them. And then a couple points I did get nervous, right? And I was like stumbling a little bit and I was like, okay, I'm getting nervous, my bad, y'all. And then Nazir told me later, he was like, girl, you knocked that out in 45 minutes. Sometimes it takes hours to knock those out. And I was like, wow. And it just reminded me like, yeah, I did think I'd be good at this. I was good at this. My self-delusion brought me this far and I will continue to have it. So believe in yourself, and believe in yourself so much that people are like,
I think she might be crazy.
and you know what? That's their business. That's not yours. And then the final thing I learned from my very first voiceover acting gig is that literally everything always works out. First, when I auditioned, I used this DSLR camera, and so they were like, great, this sounds awesome. Then I did another audition with my phone, and they were like,
Girl, it's a little echoey. You got a quiet space that you can record in?
and I was like, I sure do. Now, to be clear, I am in a studio in a hostel. The only other room is a bathroom, which is echoey as F. The sirens are going off. The mariachi music is going off. Other hostel guests living their best life partying. So there was no reason for me to believe that there would be a quiet recording booth level of quality in the space that I was recording. But guess what? I knew it would be fine. So what I did is I actually used this wardrobe that I have here in the studio. I draped blankets over it. And then when it was time to record, I like got into my little cave, and they were like, all right, girl, this is good, but there's still a little bit of an echo. And I was like, baby, I got more blankets. So I got another blanket, put it on top of me. And that is how I did my very first voiceover gig, was under like 3 blankets. I had this little light under me. We was telling ghost stories. The audio was crisp, it was clear, and guess what? It all worked out. So just don't get worried about like, wait, but what about this?
What about that? What about this? What about that?
All those voices are the voices trying to stop you from creating. Ignore them. They haters. They don't want you to win. Listen to the voice that's saying, it's gonna be fine. You're gonna be a voiceover star, all right? It's natural talent. It was inevitable. All right, y'all, so that's basically everything I learned from my very first voiceover acting gig. I don't think I'm gonna talk about the actual voiceover part that much, just because like I said, I am a natural at it. I just drank some water, like, you know, get some rest. It's talking. Is it hard? All right, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to see more. Thanks for watching, y'all, and I will see ya in the next one.